Hi, everyone. We have author Norian Love here, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me. I am a romance writer by profession, and I've written a total of published 3 books, 6 books, 3 poetry books, and but then 6 romance books, and I guess my flagship book, the bestseller, would be Money, Power, and Sex, a love story. So that book is where I am.
And what inspired you to start writing?
Oh, I hated my job. If that's a way to introduce, no, I think that I've always my dad is the best storyteller I've ever been associated with, and he would tell these phenomenal stories. And I think there was a point in time in my career I used to, again, we were talking. I used to trade natural gas for a living, and I didn't enjoy it. And there was a crossroads in my life where I decided, well, if I can keep doing this, or if I could see what I was capable of, um, what would I do? And God worked it out to where I could take a shot at it. And I took a shot at it about 4 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
Right. So tell us about your books.
Okay, well, Money, Power, and Sex is about it's a interesting book in the sense that you know every story is told from the vantage point of the person experiencing the journey. So this book right here, I should probably leave it longer. It was the story is about a young woman who has kind of made it in corporate America, but she has ties to the hood, and her ex-boyfriend comes back, and he kind of wants to rekindle what they had, but she's moved on. She's met another guy, and he's a little bit more corporate, and it's kind of her. I can't give it all away, but there's a challenge there. And then inadvertently, at her job, there's a pariah of a woman. Most people either love or hate this character, and so they all kind of mix in the gumbo kind of. So it's no good way to for me to describe it. I'm good at writing, just very bad at describing. So check it out. I guess I don't know what to tell you. Mhm.
And what about your other book? We're going to talk about Autumn.
Oh yes, we should. So autumn, autumn is a it's kind of my ode to 2020 because this has been a hell of a year.
Mhm.
And so what I've tried to do was we were talking earlier, and I was just saying, like, um as far as romance goes, as far as there's just a lot of things that I think that as a young woman or a young man, you see the world one way. And what happens when you start to come into reconciliation with your perception of the world versus the way that the world is. Like, everyone wants that happily ever after, but the first step in that happily ever after is being happy. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? What does that mean that and so I think that that book really, in my opinion, kind of addresses that. People were I we were talking about a good friend of mine, and we were talking about how he loves his kids and so on and so forth, and we were saying, like, we said, I give my life for my kids, and I say, well, why wouldn't you give your happiness? And that is kind of a microcosm of the book. That's not to say that, like, um he, whatever his choices are, if he ever watches this, he probably gonna punch me in the face. But it gives you kind of it's just a thought-provoking book about what is happiness, what is love, what is romance, what is connection. But the one thing that I've tried to do as a creative is I want to push the envelope. um you as a reader, you give us your time, right? And we as writers, we really appreciate that. So I think one of the things that like kind of irks me about um writers, myself included, um especially when you're new and you're young, you're like, hey, what's up, how you doing, here's my book, bye. you know and I can imagine that you come across as an asshole that way. You want to have a relationship. Excuse my I ain't anyway. So you want to have a relationship with your reader. So you want to be able to say, hey, look, man, like this is not. I'm not trying to sell you my product. I want to relate to you. And I want to relate to you because I know that I cannot be the only person going through this. You know what I mean? And here's my experience. You may like it, you may disagree. Look, I'm not, I don't, I'm not, I've never been a person to pander to an audience. I want to tell my story, and see how you relate to that. And hopefully, even if you don't respect the story, you can respect the passion behind it.
Okay. And how long did it take you to finish Autumn?
Autumn, is it done?
Oh,
Autumn, Autumn has probably been a couple. The music took a while. The music took a while just because I can't sing.
no, you got to tell them about the music. You
Oh
told
yeah,
me
you're
about
right.
it.
My
You got to tell
bad.
them about it.
So what I did was the marriage here is it's truly a marriage between a few different art forms. Art itself, as far as like the artistry of painting, the main character or the sub, depending on you, is an artist. So there's an artistic platform there. The cover itself was created by an artist, because one of the things that I want to do for the rest of my career, at least, is I always want to have books that you can put on your coffee table. I want to have dope artwork on your coffee table. I don't want to have anything that someone didn't put passion into.
Okay.
So that was very important, and so that's where it started. Um, and then from there, it was just the rest of it relied on my limited creativity, because like I said, I can't sing. I'm not a good beat maker, but I don't make music. That's not my thing. I write, and
Mhm.
so I wrote 7 songs. I wrote I knew how it should sound, and I was just fortunate enough to have some really good singers to kind of carry out my vision. So I'm hoping that that comes across, and the main thing about it is that this component of the book itself is free. I am not charging 1 cent for any of those songs. I'm not charging. I want you to have the music that goes with the book, because that's the element and the essence in which I wrote the book in. And back when I was writing, I was just writing. I was writing what was inside of me, right? So it was just like, okay, this is passion. And so I did not like anything else. You grow up, and so I think at first I was just, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to follow Zane, Eric Jerome Dickey, Elin Harris, um, Toni Morrison on some level. And I wanted to be not really necessarily erotic. I mean, there's a lot of freaky shit, excuse my language, inside of these books. And I think with the Money, Power, and Sex series, it'll always be like that, because
Yeah.
that's a crevice in my mind. But I also want to tell a good story. But I think that as you get older, you want to. For me, I want to be creative, and I think Autumn. I think my core fans they won't miss a beat with this. I think it's crazy because a lot of times people want heat, but they don't want to put in the firewood.
Mm-hmm.
And that firewood is slow kindling, burnt, but when it burns, it burns. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times what has to happen is, especially, and that's not a woman's job to put in that firewood. That's a man's job to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, look, you know what? I think you are beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't know what you got going on, but I'm putting my hat in the race. You know what I'm saying? Because um that's what we do. You can't expect to be a protector and a provider and a lover if you can't show any authority.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that what's happened for our people specifically sometimes is that people want to bang their chests, but they don't want to step up and be like, "Hey, look, I'm out here."
Okay. So tell us about your children's books.
Oh, okay. So in my children's books are a little bit more didactic in nature. And so what I've tried to do, I'm a different author under that.
Yeah.
I am P.L. Johnson under that. And so I got these guys here too. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to tell stories for our children that not only encourage and empower, but also give them a safe space to just know that like this is our foundation. Like we don't we you know like my first the first children's book I ever wrote, it wasn't about, there are a lot of black books that say you're beautiful too, or you're beautiful. And let's highlight that. It was like, excuse me, it was more like we get the fact that you're beautiful. That's not part of the story. That's just a afterthought. Now here's a story. And so what I've tried to do with my entire mini monarch series, that's what they're called. They're 4 books, and I have them in my hand right now, so I'll show them to you.
Yes.
um there are 4 really cool. This is the first one. This one's called Nefertiti and the Great Lake, and this one I'm probably the most proud of, just because I love the illustrations inside of it. I'll show you something that I think is dope. um what I've tried to do was like, yeah, this is a cool picture right here, like right there. You see her, she's just
Mhm.
beautiful young princess. Um, Here's another one right there. She's just like, and so, but she goes on a journey um, to try to find out how to be the proper leader for her people, if you will. Um, and then, from there, we have Ramses, which I know your son, like you were talking about earlier, he loves this book right here. And
Yeah.
so that is about the biggest, strongest, fastest prince in the country, in the world. But then he learns that everything in his body is a muscle, including his mind. And so if he trained his mind like he trained his body, he'd be unstoppable. And that's kind of the message of that one. It's probably pretty didactic in that sense. And then the next one would be Cleopatra the Wise right here, and then the last one is Cut the Generous.
Okay.
And so that one is more about siblings and sharing, and a little less didactic, a little bit more fun, because I mean, after I keep beating your kids' heads that they are valuable, I just want them to have fun. You know what I mean? So I want to just be able to tell a good story. So that's kind of the point of it all. So yeah.
Okay. And where can we purchase your books?
Anywhere you can find them on Barnes and Noble. Noble. Amazon is probably the biggest and largest vendor, and it doesn't matter where. I know people love physical copies. So I think Amazon's a good place, but you can always get them from me, which is at norianlove.com for the romance side. Also tljohnsonstories.com for the children's stuff. I have coloring books. I have children's stuff. I have merchandise as far as like clothes, shirts, and so forth. I really think that it would be cool. And as we were talking earlier, one of the things that should be coming down the next week or so is an all Black Christmas story. I think that you know everyone that's on the, not everyone, but the majority of you guys, you probably look like me, and you probably take care of your own Christmas needs or whatever the case may be. So I do not understand why Santa Claus has to look like anyone else but us. And so I'm trying to change some of the narrative behind. A lot of my books are about changing the narrative. Like, a lot of the narrative says that we don't read, we don't take care of our families, we don't. That's the narrative that's out there. But for me, I've not lived a life like that, and so for me, it's just different. And I think that for a lot of you, it's probably different. So why not highlight that? Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold, Walmart, who knows? Just if you can't find it, shoot me an email on either Norian@NorianLove.com, TL@TLJohnsonStories.com, or find me on social media, and we'll take care of.
Okay, so Autumn and the Black Christmas Story, those two will be ready when?
Autumn is Autumn should be ready. You'll have Autumn soon.
Okay.
Particularly. But autumn ironically should be ready the last day of autumn. And the Christmas book will be ready next week. So we'll have, or we'll at least have pre-orders the day for Black Friday. We'll have pre-orders for both Black Friday. The important thing I want to mention is this. Again, as a creative, I like being fun and being surprising. So sign up for the mailing list, because my mailing lists aren't regular mailing lists. I'm just not trying to get your email. I promise you I won't spam you. If you are on my mailing list, there's a good chance you can get more than you bargained for. That's the truth. And Sip and Flip will tell you, just in general, I'm very generous as far as being with my time or my resources. I could be wrong. You might disagree.
You're right. You're right. Yes, we definitely thank you for everything.
Yeah. So I try to take care of every. So yeah, if you're on my mailing list, I got some really cool stuff. I got some stuff that, like I'm saying, we got a whole soundtrack for a romance book. Like, that's a whole thing, and that's free. So just imagine what's coming with the package, if you will. So yeah, just sign up for my mailing list. And on the children's side, I got some really dope stuff. So yeah.
Okay. And where can we find you on social media?
On social media, I am Norian Love, @Norian Love. That's probably my home base. And then on the children's side, it's @TL Johnson. So I try to keep those. I used to try to keep those two separate because I worked for full time for a living. But since I've been a writer, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to. Other than the fact that you don't want your kids knowing that their favorite writer wrote what I wrote on the. Other than that, I'm pretty good. You'll be like, yo, mama, he did what?
Now you said you're gonna come back, right? You're gonna come back. We're gonna do.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do this all over again. I would like to get back in December. Once you have the autumn package, I want to know how far I was off base. I'm pretty confident right now. I don't want you to hold me to this. If you put this on, I'm pretty confident. If I was wrong, I have no problem with you telling me that. I just want you to tell me that to my face online from these people, because I feel very confident in what I'm doing. You mean I'm serious, man. You don't understand. Like, I feel like Thanos is coming. That's how I feel. I feel like right now, what I got, man, come on. Like, go to NorianLove.com, listen to the first song. That's the first song. That song is probably the 6th best song on the 7-song soundtrack. And if you don't like that, I can do better. You gotta hear it, is what I'm saying. And that second song that I'm about to release, that's the 4th best song, 4th or 5th best song. And if you hear those two songs and you're not interested in the book, if you don't, then I'm not the guy for you. You said I'm good with that. You know what I mean? But I'm confident in what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure.
Always.
Yes, so we're gonna do this again.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna let you know.
Hey, wait, before we go, we're gonna sip.
Uh
Cheers. We said we're gonna
all right, everyone. That was author Norian Love telling us about his books. He'll be back. Make sure you like this video and subscribe below.